Hey guys, what's up? It's Isaac and this is the Daily Disciple where I help you follow Jesus daily. You just tuned into this video. Welcome. I don't know what we've quite gotten ourselves into with this reaction today, but I do want to give a little disclaimer. If you're, I don't know, under the age of 15, 14, I don't know, use your own discretion, or maybe get your parents to watch this video first. We're going to be talking about pornography and we're going to be talking about sex. So I try to trim it down as much as I can, but this might be a video that you want to skip if you feel like you're too young to hear about that kind of stuff. Just wanted to give you that disclaimer because I know some younger people watch my channel, but I think overall this is going to be helpful for all of us as we talk about pornography, the dangers of it, because look, some people try to convince you it is good to watch porn, and Jubilee, this Jubilee video that we're reacting to today, is a perfect example of those kind of people. And let's hear their arguments. Let's see what they have to say. I'm honestly quite interested in seeing what kind of defense they would have for such a thing. If you are like pretty much everyone else in the world, you've been exposed to pornography in some way, or somebody you know has been affected by it, so this is an issue we need to be talking about. So let's get into it. But first, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone on Patreon. Thank you so much to my 26 patrons on there. The goal is to get to 30 by the end of the month. So thank you for joining on patreon.com/daily_disciple at $5 a month if that's possible. That would be an amazing blessing to me. Now, onto the video. Here we go. I'm a little bit scared. I don't know guys, this is a little bit, I have to say, when I saw this video and I thought about doing a reaction, I passed this over because it's a little bit of an older video. This is from last year, and just now I'm coming back to it. Actually, it's 2 years old. I'm coming back to it now because look, let's break through the awkwardness and just talk about what's important. So let's watch.
Hi, I'm Buck, and I'm a human rights activist and pro-porn.
Hi, I'm Abigail, and I'm an aspiring physician, and I'm pro-porn.
Hi, I'm Riley. I'm an adult performer, and I'm pro-porn.
Hi, my name is JK. I am a porn addiction recovery coach, and I'm passionate about helping men who struggle with compulsive sexual behaviors.
Hi, my name is Maria. I run a youth organization, and we educate on this issue.
My name is Nicole. I'm 21 years old. I'm headed to law school next year. I have been a first-hand witness of the devastating effects porn can have in personal relationships.
Human rights advocate and participates and advocates for pornography. That's an oxymoron, people. That doesn't exist. I don't know what this guy's gonna say, but there's nothing that he could ever say that would convince me that he is a human rights advocate. If you know anything about the porn industry, if you know anything about how pornography is made and how it gets distributed, and the porn sites, Pornhub, that allows these videos to be put up, okay, there is a tremendous amount of abuse, of sexual trafficking, human trafficking within the pornography industry. There was a recent scandal where Pornhub had to take down a whole bunch of videos off their site because it was just, I think it was even like child pornography, and it was just random abuse stuff. And I'm like, how did this happen? How was this allowed to happen? But yet we still have tons and tons of that kind of material on sites all across the internet. And this guy's trying to say he's a human rights advocate. It gets to the point, guys, where I don't even care if you're Christian or not. Just use your brain.
I have watched porn.
I've watched porn in the past, and I think I've watched more than my fair share of it, to the point that it changed my life. But right now I don't, because I'm at a point where it's been a decade. I won't be going back to it.
I watch porn. I also produce porn. What a great medium to use to help to explain to people different kinds of bodies, different kinds of sexualities, different ways that people fantasize about things in a healthy manner.
Oh my god, in a healthy way. Oh wow. Yeah, it's like, okay, you know, son, we want to teach you a little bit today about you know, the birds and the bees and that kind of thing. Hey, Gerald, can you turn on some hardcore porn for Jimmy over here? He needs to learn about the human form. Are you dumb? are you, like, I don't want to call this guy names, whatever. All I'm saying is, a healthy way? In what world is that healthy? And look, guys, I'm open. I'm a hardcore Christian, okay? Born again Christian. I read what's in the Bible. I believe it, all that kind of thing. But it blows my mind that there are some people that even people that aren't Christians, they still could even look at this guy's arguments and say, oh yeah, I guess it kind of is healthy almost. You know, it's, you know, it's sexual exploration. And, you know, this guy's like, yeah, it's a healthy way to explore fantasies. And I go, no, it's not. If you've looked at any research, if you've looked at any kind of studies on it, and we're talking from a pragmatic point of view here, because we're going to look at two different kind of arguments against pornography. We're looking at the biblical worldview, and we're looking at kind of a pragmatic argumentation. So pragmatic is like, okay, we're looking at the facts, we're looking at the statistics here, what is going to be pragmatically better for a person across their life, and we're also looking at the Bible. What does God say about this? And when you look at both of those arguments, and we're going to be touching on those throughout this video, when you look at both of those arguments, it's conclusively stated that porn is wrong and it is bad and it is harmful. No question about it. Where we go from here, and we're going to get into this, and I've made other videos about it, it's like, okay, we know it's bad, now how can we break free from it? But here we still have guys like this that are walking the streets that are saying, it's a healthy way to explore sexuality. No, it is not, sir.
I don't watch porn. It's not like I don't think about sex or anything like that, but that's just something I've only seen cause destruction in the relationships that I've been close to, and I've purposely stayed away from it.
Don't you think they already had a problem before the pornography?
Sure, yeah.
So how do you think the pornography just pushed it forward and made the situation worse?
I don't think it's the cause. I think it's a symptom of the cause. It certainly pushed forward into issues of deceit, of mistrust, and broken relationships that certainly weren't helped by an exposure to pornography.
There's one girl. She has not watched porn. Wow, this is like, and as you're gonna watch this video, you're gonna find out this girl is a Christian person and she's seen the destructive effects of pornography. Let's talk about something, because I think there can often, I've seen it before, people are shamed because, you know, she said, oh, you know, it's not like I'm afraid of sex or afraid to talk about sex or whatever, or, you know, that's not the reason that I don't watch porn. And I think that is often used as a tool to shame people. Like, you don't like pornography, it's just because you're scared of your own body, or you're just afraid of sexuality or whatever. It's like, no, not watching porn doesn't mean you're afraid of sexuality. It means you actually want to allow sexuality to be held within the properly oriented context that God designed it for. That is the full fulfillment of that sexuality. When you see pornography, that's not being free with your sexuality. That's actually a distortion of it. That's something lesser. That is lesser. That is worse.
But what if you saw a healthy relationship around pornography? Would that change your mind?
I think amazing relationship is subjective.
Of course.
I think you could also direct that to me.
Yeah.
The thing is, professionally, I've just never seen it. We do have cases where they thought they were open to it, and one of them just got addicted to it.
What is addiction?
Addiction is when it starts interfering with other aspects of your life, when it interferes with your career, when it interferes with your finances, when it interferes with your erection. I couldn't masturbate for years unless I was viewing pornography.
Do you think shame has something to do with the reason why people feel that they get addicted? I get shamed all the time for my career, but what I believe is that people have created this idea that pornography is negative, pornography is bad. People use these to blame or springboards to say, well, he used alcohol and he watched pornography, so that must be the reason.
If that wasn't there, if porn wasn't there, the relationship could be saved. High-speed internet pornography, in my opinion, escalates the decline of any relationship.
Let's talk about shame, because this guy, he says, hey, you know what, I think people have built up this idea that porn is bad and to shame people, when in fact we should be, you know, looking at all the other stuff, the alcoholism, the other stuff going on in their life. It's not porn, and it's just kind of, you're shaming people and it's not good. Well, let's talk about shame. You know, we see shame showing up in the Bible, Adam and Eve, when they have sinned against God, right? That is properly oriented shame. When we do something against what God has designed, when we do something against what God says, we feel shame because it is kind of a twisting of what we were supposed to our connection with God. It's that twisting of that and breaking off of that connection with God. That's why we feel shame, we feel regret. We're like, why did this happen? Why did we do this? That's properly oriented shame. So when we look at pornography for someone who hasn't received Jesus, right? We're looking at pornography and we're seeing this distortion of what God has designed. And so there's this shame associated with it. And that is a right and good shame, because it is an act of rebellion against God, of what he has decreed about, against what he has said is good and joyous and glorious. It is an act of rebellion against that. But the amazing thing for the believer, the one who trusts in Jesus, is that our right shame, the shame that we rightfully deserved on the cross, was given to Jesus, was laid on Jesus when he died on that cross. He bore our shame so that we could be free, so that we would no longer have to bear the weight of our own shame. So when people view pornography, maybe you viewed pornography and you felt shame, you feel regret, you feel disgusting, you feel dirty, all that kind of thing. What I want to encourage you is to not try to mask that shame by saying, you know, what this guy's saying, oh man, it's porn's not bad, it's okay, you know, and trying to desensitize your conscience, but instead see that shame as a signal to go to Christ, as a signal to say, Lord, take this from me, take this from me. Lord, forgive me. I want to follow you, Lord. I want to trust in you. I'm sorry for doing this. All that, and in that shame is lifted off of us. It's only God who can lift that shame. It's not about desensitizing ourselves, about suppressing that truth about what is actually the truth about porn, but it's about laying that shame on Jesus, because he's good enough and he is gracious enough to take that for us.
The stigma around porn is too negative.
What I see when I meet kids and youth, especially like in classrooms, is that the stigma and the kind of shame and the guilt is exactly what is kind of hindering the conversation. I'm all about like lifting that off of their shoulders to have, you know, the conversation be open and honest. That's why I think it's so important that this is happening, you know, that we're talking about this.
I believe the stigma should be negative. I think pornography is sinful. The reason I did come over and said it's too negative is because, especially in the church, there's the stigma of shame that comes after asking for forgiveness. I just think that there should be an easier way to move on and grow out of that experience.
So, there's a stigma around porn. It's a negative stigma. Is it too negative? Oh no, should we lighten up a little bit or whatever? Like, the one lady, the Christian lady, who says, I came over because I think, you know, it's too negative, so people don't want to come forward, and so we can actually like talk about it and that kind of thing. Yes, right? We want people to come forward. We want people to realize that they can break free and that they're not alone in this. But in doing that, we don't need to dampen the actual destructiveness that pornography is. I don't need to say, guys, porn is no big deal. We all watch it. It's okay. And just so then you can feel free to be like, hey guys, I watch it too. And then you're like, oh yeah, but repent of that. We don't need to trick people into coming forward. That's not what we want to do. But what we want to say in the environment we want to create, it is an environment clothed in grace. So it's not this kind of little like, you know, dancy-do where we say it's okay, you know, we all kind of do it. And we just kind of like all bathe in our sin and just kind of like act like it's a joke. No, we take sin seriously, but we want to, you know, bring people into the gospel. Say, you know what, hey, you know, I see what you're going through there, you know, I've struggled that with myself, and we want to, you know, Jesus died for that sin, and Jesus is giving you the power through his Spirit to overcome that, and, you know, we want to walk with you in this, and we want to do that kind of thing. But I don't think dampening the seriousness of sin or the seriousness of the destructiveness of porn is the right way to get people to come forward. Yes, we need to talk about it more. Absolutely, we do. We talk about modesty so much. We talk about, oh, should girls wear bikinis or yoga pants and all that kind of thing? Like, are you kidding me? On Christian YouTube, that is such a big topic. Everybody talks about that, especially like a couple years ago. That was the biggest thing. Modesty, modesty, modesty. And yet, those same guys that are talking about modesty or complaining about girls wearing yoga pants or bikinis or whatever are going home and watching pornography. Are we kidding? Are we kidding ourselves, guys? Like, I think we got bigger fish to fry here. So let's talk about pornography. Let's not dampen the seriousness of sin. But let's be honest, because that's the only way we're going to break free is together.
So we've talked a lot about the way that stigma and consumption affects the consumer, but we haven't really talked much at all while we've been sitting here about labor and the people who make porn. And from my point of view, I see firsthand so much the way that stigma against porn affects the lives and the safety of porn performers. It is near impossible to get a decent OBGYN. It is hard to find a mental health care professional who will not pathologize you for your choice of occupation. It leads to a well-known phenomenon, people losing their families just by virtue of what they do for a living. It's the palpable discrimination that sex workers of all kinds face because of this kind of negative stigma.
Let me make this clear. Sex workers, pornographers, they should be put out of business. Straight up. In no world can we live where those people operate with legality, with, all these kind of, the protections, all that kind of thing. And there isn't still enormous abuse, and there isn't still sexual trafficking, and there isn't still, like, terrible stuff going on. Cut it all down. Like, I'm sorry that you've put yourself in a position where something has happened to you, where you're in this position, where you're in this line of work, and you're seeing these people that are against what you do for a living, your livelihood. Like, I'm sorry that that's the position you are in. I'm serious. Like, and I want help for you. I want to help you. I want, things to be there for you to get out of that, to recover from that, and to, work through all the things that you've been through. Like, I want that for you, but I don't want this for you. Like, I don't want you to stay in that profession. I don't want you in there because it's not good for you, for anybody. And so, man, like, it's hurting the porn industry. Good. I got, like, if people have a problem with that, I don't care.
Our society needs better sex education.
Don't just teach them how sex works biologically. Teach the children about consent and autonomy over their bodies and communication with their partners and how to do that in a healthy way.
Okay, number one, just being honest, if I had kids, I wouldn't be taking advice on how to educate my kids from a, whatever you would call her, a pornography actor or something. I don't know what you call her, but I would not be taking advice from her. But I do hear her and what she's saying, and I mean, just springboarding off that, if I did have kids, I would talk to them about pornography. At what level, I'm not exactly sure, but I do know that tons and tons of kids are exposed to pornography at ages 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And so, especially within Christian conservative contexts in those families, it can be more of a taboo subject to talk about anything regarding sex or pornography or anything like that. So they keep it off the table. And who actually begins kind of educating them is pornography or schools. And if you know anything about me, you know I'm homeschooled. And I haven't talked a lot about education on this channel a lot, but I believe it is firmly the role of the parents to educate kids in terms of definitely sexuality. Like, I don't want a secular government institution teaching my kids about sex. I'm sorry, I don't have kids yet, but that's my take, okay? And so if you as a parent, you're too scared, or you think it's not your job or whatever like that, just know that somebody else is teaching them. And I say this with love, but you don't want those people teaching your kids. You don't want them doing that, because part of the reason that pornography it's been such a rampant spread. It's like a virus. And one of the reasons that's the case is that kids, tons and tons of kids, were educated not by their parents in terms of what sex is and God's design for sex, but they were educated by pornography. And when you watch it that young, it sticks around. And when it's not monitored, it sticks around. And if you're struggling with it right now, if you're exposed at a young age, you're having trouble right now, maybe in the midst of a violent kind of battle with pornography, or maybe there isn't a battle at all, you've just kind of given yourself over to it because you feel lost and lonely and stuck in this shameful spiral, I want you to know that there is hope. There is hope. And I don't say that just as some fluffy thing to make you feel better, but legitimately, like, God has given us himself. Like, think about how powerful that is. The God of the universe has given us access to his power and his presence in our lives. But when we continually distract ourselves from him, when we run from him, when we refuse to repent and trust in him, we're running from that gift, right? But when we submit to him, when we come often to the ends of our ropes and we say, God, I can't do this anymore, willpower on my own, it will not work. I need you. I need your power. I need your presence in my life. Lord, help me in this. And because God is about transformation, that's what he is about. So if I'm going to anyone to break free from something, it's not a YouTube video. It's not a guru. It's God. So that's my encouragement to you. It's not like, man, we can argue all day. And we can also talk about like pragmatic views of pornography, like, oh man, look at all the, statistical ways it harms your life and all the areas it impacts. It does. And we can look at the biblical, all these verses talk about thou shalt not commit adultery. You shouldn't look at a woman to lust after her because you've already committed adultery in your heart. And we see all this, right? We see all this stuff and it's telling us it's wrong, but yet some of us just, we know in our head that it's wrong, but we continue to do it. And so this is your sign. This is your wake-up call. It'll take control of you if you don't get a control of it. So this is your time. Pray. Ask God, help me. Like you're like, Isaac, is that it? That's all you got? You got no special 3-step program of how we can do it? I'm like, that's all I got, guys, because at the end of the day, God is the one who is most powerful and most capable of helping you in your time of need.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think we basically all agree that at the end of the day, we recognize sex as something that should be beautiful, that should be a form of expression. Just who you're expressing it to and when you express it, we all kind of disagree on.
This is about to get me on a hobby horse, but let's talk about it. Okay, what makes something beautiful? How do we know something's beautiful? It's because God is the creator of beauty. He has instilled in us an innate knowledge of something that is good and right and beautiful. And so she's saying, we agree that, sex should be something beautiful, right? And we know that innately, but some people have twisted it and distorted it and gone against what God has already decreed and call that beautiful. But that is not beautiful. Pornography is not beautiful in any sense. It is grotesque, it is perverted, I can use many other things. This Christian girl, I mean, she seems like a very nice person. I think it's kind of cute because she's like, we're just, we're all on the same page in some ways, and we all think it's just, even though we disagree a lot, pretty much in everything, we can still be friends, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cute, like, it's funny. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed this reaction. If you did, share it with a friend, because, man, pornography is so rampant. You got somebody in your life that's going through something, and maybe this video will help them in some way. I hope it has. I hope it has encouraged you. And thanks to everyone on Patreon once again. I love you guys. Thank you for help supporting my channel and make it so I can continue to make this content. We're getting closer to the goal, 30 patrons end of January. We're gonna get there. Let's do it. And I'll see you next time. God bless.